Tournament coverage from around the country coming up on this week's Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show. An Eastern Tennessee focus this week as we take you out to the Tom's Marine Team Trail on Douglas Lake, and then we hop over to the Snag Proof Open on Cherokee. We also visit the FLW Tour out on Grand Lake in Oklahoma, plus a BFL on Lake Wylie, and as always, the Sportsman's Warehouse Product Spotlight brought to you by Strike King Lures. All coming up. Stay with us.
The Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show.
Thanks for watching. I'm John Byrne here in the Progressive Insurance Studios. As the summer heats up, there's no slowing down as the dedicated anglers across the country show us some of these great lakes. Today, let's get started in Tennessee up on Douglas Lake with a report from the Tom's Marine Team Trail, Stan Strickland.
This is the fifth stop on the Tom's Marine Team Trail. We're on Douglas Lake. We're coming out of Dandridge, Tennessee today. It's a daytime tournament. We fish all daytime tournaments this year, starting this year, and the lake is up. It's a very high, full pool. Mainly the fish today are going to be out deep, so we should be seeing a lot of people fishing out deep. A lot of people are going to be long lining or strolling. I think that's a new technique, I think made popular by BASS a couple years ago. The elite guys have actually been on this lake earlier this year, and I think that's how a lot of the guys caught their fish. That's what we'll be looking for today. 99
boats competed in this fifth stop of the Tom's Marine Team Trail. A great turnout, and the fishing has been fantastic on Douglas Lake. Bass introduced a new technique during the visit here a few years back called strolling or long lining. And Stan caught up with some anglers doing just that.
All right, now they're going to do what's called strolling or long lining, but you throw your lure out, primarily a deep running crankbait, and your bait casting or spinning rod is free spool, meaning that you're not using the boat to pull the bait. And these guys are going over top of the hump. They've got 3 to 4 pounders and said they lost a big one. Notice they're not reeling or anything, they're just letting out free spool line. The further you have that bait out, the more line you have out, the deeper it'll run. And right now, our boat is in 41, but they're fishing about 25 or 26. If you notice other boats going in behind them, this is just a hump out here. It is not shallower over there where they're running, it's actually deeper. Okay, now they have gotten off the power of the trolling motor, and now they're cranking. And if you notice, cranking pretty heavy, they want that bait down there as fast as possible. And then once it gets in the strike zone, and they'll pull it through, you can cover a lot more water like this, but it does tax your trolling motor batteries.
From the size of the quality we saw on the water today, the weigh-in bags are going to be impressive.
Hey folks, Richard McMaster here, Tom's Marine Team Trail in Dandridge, Tennessee on beautiful Douglas Lake. Lake water is real full here. It's actually above full. They caught a lot of fish today. Fishing's been real good on Douglas Lake. It's been taking several 20-pound bags to win a lot of tournaments. I want to congratulate Gary Pilkington and Denny Turner for a great bag of 24.16 pounds. Long lining has become a very big thing here since the BASS came here a couple years and introduced that to us. And jigging spoons and Carolina rigs are your dominant things going on right now. They're catching them in 40 to 45 foot of water on 10XDs, 6XDs. Great catch with all of them. Everybody done a great job. It's going to take probably 14, 15 pounds to get in the money. We had 99 boats showed up today. Our tournament trail's done real good. It's been real strong. That's a real good turnout. I appreciate everybody for coming out.
Thanks, Richard. As always, one of the great tournament directors in the country, running one of the great team trails in the country, the Tom's Marine Team Trail. A little later in the show, a bird's eye view of Lake Wylie on the North and South Carolina state line. And then we're off to Grand Lake in Oklahoma for the FLW Tour. But next, highlights of the Snag Proof Open from Cherokee Lake in East Tennessee. That and much, much more right after this.
The Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show This portion sponsored by Progressive Insurance, a leader in boat insurance. Sponsored by Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. And by Evinrude Outboards. Get from the water to the trophy stand in record time.
The very first Snag Proof Open was held recently on beautiful Cherokee Lake in East Tennessee outside of Morristown. And anglers from across the Southeast came to try their expertise using only Snag Proof products in hopes of winning that $10,000 first place prize. Snag Proof offers a complete line of weedless lures including jigs, swim baits, crankbaits, of course frogs, and worms, and competing anglers will be able to use the entire product line in their quest for the 10 grand. But it has to be only a Snag Proof product. Connie Fuller of Snag Proof Lures was on hand.
This is Connie Fuller at Snag Proof Open, first annual on beautiful Lake Cherokee in Tennessee. Like I said, this is the first one. We've had a good turnout. It's not exactly a frog lake, so we're selling lots of jigs and worms. Some of the new bobbies, Perfect Buzz. Ish is Poppin' Fatty, going really well. Everybody's been great. We've got a guaranteed $10,000 payout, first place. 3 fish limit, and it's beautiful weather.
The anglers were able to modify the baits by using any trailers they wanted, but the primary bait had to be a Snag Proof product. Tournament Director Sam Phillips.
All right, day one has wrapped up here at the first annual Tennessee Snag Proof Open Products Open Tournament. Looks like it's going to really be a shootout tomorrow. Looks like 3 pounds is separating from way back in the pack to the leaders. Just less than an ounce is separating the first 2 teams. Big fish is amazing, is 560 today with a big smallmouth of 350. We had 45 teams to show up and fish this 2-day event here in Morristown. $10,000 to win guaranteed, regardless of number of boats. So somebody's going to walk out of here tomorrow with $10,000 in their pocket. So we're really excited about it. Come and fish with us.
The weather was finally perfect and Cherokee Lake was at full pool due to all the rain we've had this spring. Sam tells us about the conditions and how the anglers handled them.
I know this morning there was a top water bite. There was quite a few fish come off frogs this morning, and then as the sun came up and heated up, the fish moved out a little bit, and they started going deeper with the jigs. I bet we've sold almost 1,000 jigs here in the last 2 weeks, and it's just been amazing what these guys can go out there and do and accomplish, you know, with under these conditions. But conditions has been pretty good today, so you know we were expecting rain. It held off. We've got some wind, which could help in certain situations. But overall, I think it was a great day.
With a 3 fish limit each day, competition was tight for sure. Top weight of the 2-day tournament was 21.92 pounds, taken in by Brandon Harris and Kelly Millsaps. Congrats to all who participated. Coming up on the Sportsman's Warehouse Product Spotlight Tip of the Week, brought to you by Strike King Lure Company, we've got Kevin Van Dam giving us some advice on changing out hooks. But first, in celebration of Ranger Boats' 45 years in business, providing excellent watercraft to anglers all across the country, we're going to test your knowledge and have a little fun each week with our Ranger Boats Question of the Week. Our question of the week this week: what tournament organization is named after Ranger Boats founder Forrest L. Wood? Back right after this.
You're watching the Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show, presented by Progressive, a leader in boat insurance. This portion has been sponsored in part by your local Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitters, and by Strike King Lures, makers of the KVD line of jerkbaits. Go to StrikeKing.com.
Get all the answers to the Ranger Boats Question of the Week by logging on to www.mydreamrig.com. Now it's time for our Sportsman's Warehouse Product Spotlight, brought to you by Strike King Lure Company. This week, Kevin Van Dam takes a break to let us know the importance of keeping a good supply of hooks on board.
You know, one of the things that I'm adamant about is making sure that I've got the best hooks and that they're super sharp on all my baits. So, you know, right out of the box, you know, a lot of baits come with good hooks. You know, these are round bend, black nickel, number 4s, and they're pretty decent hooks. The thing I want to do is I want to make a hook that is going to give me the best opportunity to land those bigger fish. So I change most of mine out. I've got my own signature series, Mustad Elite Series trebles, and you know, this Series 5 right here, XD, comes with number 4s. What I do is I swap it to 2 number 2s of the extra short shank KVDs, and you know, there's a quick, easy way to change trebles. And during a competition day, you know, if I'm grinding gravel beds and things like that, shell beds, I'll change those hooks several times a day. So what I'm going to do is I just grab onto the split ring there, and I force the hook off to start down on the split ring. You know, I'm not using split ring pliers, I'm just using regular needle nose, and I'll just start the other one right on, and then just spin it right around, and the old one comes off and the new one's on. So I'm not doing a 2-step process. I'm putting the one on and taking one off all at the same time. And then, you know, again, you go to the rear hook, just put it right there in the center of the split ring. I'm just going to pinch it, you know, with my pliers and force that hook so that the split ring's open, and you know, start the second one on, just spin it around, and again, got one coming off, new one on, bait's ready to go. I carry a box just like this that has all my hooks in it. I've got all different sizes of trebles. I've got round bands, I've got the KVD triple grips in there, I've got all my worm hooks, drop shot hooks, swim bait hooks. This is one of my most important tackle boxes. You know, keeping it organized and knowing where all your stuff at in your boat is super critical on tournament day. So having a hook box that has all the extra hooks that you're going to need so you're prepared for any situation is really, really important.
You can get all the latest Strike King lures and all the gear for bass fishing from your area Sportsman's Warehouse and sportsmanswarehouse.com. Anglers took to the waters of beautiful Lake Wylie on a Chamber of Commerce Day Saturday to compete in the South Carolina Division 4 BFL tournament. 13,400-acre Lake Wylie boasts more than 325 miles of shoreline and covers 21 square miles, but is located in both North and South Carolina. Most of the anglers that participated know this lake and headed to their favorite spots, and on Wylie, there are many. Angler Michael Stevens lets us in on his day and conditions.
Yeah, those fish these last few days were biting pretty good because they were moving water and they were trying to get that water back down from all that rain. And the upper end of the lake still got some dirt, but it seems like a lot of that water cleared up, so the shallow fish have gone away a little bit. And then all the fish down, they quit pulling water, so those fish quit biting a little bit. So all these fish today came on a drop shot. I've been catching them cranking, and they've been pretty aggressive. And today, boat number is pretty critical because, you know, there's not a whole lot of good spots. So, you know, when you didn't get on the good spot right away, you got to wait till, you know, somebody left, you know, from it getting pounded. You got to kind of pick through the scraps, and that's what I had to do today. So it was just a grind. I caught a ton of fish, just like full of them. Had about 55 fish today, and had about 12 keepers, and that's why you're full.
Congratulations to James Buchanan of Monroe, North Carolina, who won this BFL event with 16.5 pounds.
James, awesome job to you, son. Great job. There's your hardware. I do trust James. I do think he's going to tell me the truth.
A co-angler started throwing a little pop-art. Caught a couple on pop-art. I threw it at it, blew up on it. I couldn't get it to work for me. So I said, well, let me go to my favorite bait. I picked up a shaky head and went to it. It just seemed to happen all at once, you know. Fish pretty clean, didn't lose any, you know, fish that would help me anyway. Fish pretty shallow. Early this morning, pretty much had a limit in about an hour, hour and a half at the most. Probably the limit I had was probably about 11, 12 pounds. Moved around a little bit, found a location that had, I told McCoy last I need another big fish. So I said, come on, I got a place we need to run to. Ran over there, fishing some wood cover. Got a good bite off of that, the largest fish I had, which was a little over 4 pounds. They went pretty well. It wasn't a lot of bites that we got, but it was pretty steady. pretty steady.
Well, that's good. Now, what color shaky head was you towing?
A little over 3/16 ounce jig head with a green pumpkin underneath.
Green pumpkin's always a favorite on this lake, right?
Absolutely, and it works anywhere, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. You know, yeah, green pumpkin or any natural color worm on a shaky head, you know, you can't go wrong.
And your top 5. James Buchanan from Monroe with 16-15 took home $36.71. Norm Attaway of Clearwater, South Carolina had 15-10 and went home with $1,835. Ken Ellis of Bowman, South Carolina, 15-02. Ross Burns of Columbia with 15-01. And Rodney Chastain of Fountain Inn with 14-15. Congratulations to all the anglers that participated in that great event. And coming up next, we're going to go out to Grand Lake in Oklahoma for the FLW Tour. Stay with us.
The Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show, presented by Progressive, a leader in boat insurance. Sponsored by Snagproof, creators of the original Frog. By Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. By Evan Root Outboards. By your local Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter. And by Strike King Lures, #1 in fishing lures.
The 5th stop on the FLW Tour this year is in Grand Lake in Oklahoma, one of the better fisheries in the country. And as always, the competition was really tight in this 5th tour event. We joined Jason and Chris on stage in Grove, Oklahoma.
We're going to go ahead and put up our leaderboard. When the day started this morning, 6:30 takeoff, this is the way our top 10 looked. For the first 2 days, we had 147 boats.
Well, let's talk about those top couple of spots there, Chris.
You got it, Jason. Hey, listen, 8 pounds separates, or about 8 pounds, less than 8 pounds actually separates 10th from 1st. 5th place, the guy who always catches them all over the country, everywhere we go, Robbie Dodson. 4th place is Oklahoma's own Jimmy Houston. I think we've heard of him. That's right, we know he caught him today. 3rd place, Andy Morgan. He has more top 10s than anybody in the history of FLW Outdoors. And 2nd place, Barry Wilson, trying to get his first win on the tour. He finished 4th earlier in the year over in Arkansas at Beaver Lake. And Jason Christie, who was your Beaver Lake champion this year. Guy who's done it all, man.
You guys know who Jason Christie is? He led on day 1, led on day 2, led on day 3. Can he go 4 days in a row and seal the deal for a 2nd tour victory in 1 year? You guys welcome to the stage your local boy, Rayovac Pro, Jason Christie. Man, how much fun is this being basically in your backyard? You grew up on this lake and you got all these folks here. I'm sure 99% of them are here to see you, probably Jimmy too.
Yeah, you know, this is a great crowd. This is the biggest crowd I've seen all year. I won't be able to tell you how much fun it is till after the weigh-in's over with, you know. It was a pretty stressful day. You know, I didn't get a first bite till like 8:30, and it was a 4 or 5 pounder and got pinned up in a tree and came off, so it was a really stressful day. Long day.
Well, you've talked about, I mean, this has just been a stellar year. 2 major tournament wins already this year. You got a chance to possibly win a 3rd. There's been, I know, a lot of pressure when you grow up in this area, especially with what happened, you know, at War, Oklahoma just a couple weeks ago. So you got probably a lot of weight on your shoulders just because this is basically in your backyard. It doesn't make it easy.
You know, I think one of the reasons that I can catch a bass is a lot of these people sitting out here. You know, coming up here and fishing against these guys all the time, they made me a better fisherman, and you know, the lake, of course, is outstanding. I mean, I think it's one of the best in the country by far. I mean,
you've been trying to get us here for years.
Yeah, I mean, when 15 pounds barely gets a check, and it's after the spawn. I mean, you come here before the spawn, and you're catching 5s and 6s rather than 3s and 4s. But great lake, great people, great town.
18 pounds and 3 ounces. You're going to be just a little bit short. Let's take you and your entourage to the front. Let's talk about it. That's awesome.
Boy, I wanted to tie him. You know, we had 4 Chevy guys in the top 20, the top 13 actually, and then we had 3 Chevy guys fishing today. And I want to beat Brian so badly because, listen, after 2 days, Brian and I was tied for 5th and 6th place. But you break a tie in FLW, by whoever has the heaviest stringer caught after 2 days. And I had 21.7, he had like 19. So I was really hoping we would tie and get his butt off that chair.
That's awesome.
And then I was hoping Jason would get tired and go home.
Here we go. Fish number 1 is a good one. On day 1, Jason Christie led with 21 pounds and 12 ounces. Day 2, he backed it up with 18 pounds and 14 ounces. Yesterday, 17 pounds and 10 ounces. In 3 days, he's amassed 58 pounds and 4 ounces of Grand Lake of the Cherokee bass. That is number 3. He needs 14 pounds and 8 ounces to dethrone the Chevy Pro Brian Thrift. You've got 3 good ones in there so far, 3 good ones. But you're gonna need 4 and possibly 5. If you've got a limit, let's see them. Okay? Here we go. Does he have 4 and 5? A 5-pound from the Wrapup Pro, Jason Christie. Wow! That's what you call getting it done, man. Well, let's just make it official. Number 4 goes in, number 5 goes in. Here we go. You needed 14 pounds and 8 ounces. Your limit today, work. 19 pounds, 13 ounces. Your champion is Jason Christie. Wow!
2 times in 1 year.
The last stop on the FLW Tour this year is the biggest one, the FLW Cup in Bossier City and Shreveport on the Red River. Thanks for watching the Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show. From the Progressive Insurance Studios, I'm John Byrne. Have a great week.